Hello, SPHL fans, and welcome to the video. Appreciate your views and the support. It's very humbling and very much appreciated. Today's guest, we got the legend himself, I'm Ice Bear fan. Almost can call him an Ice Bear super fan, kind of like I'm a Riverman super fan. Has a lot of perspective and knowledge on the Ice Bears. Totally respect his opinion on hockey. I talk hockey outside of this with him, and like I said, I love your insight on the game. But we got Brooks Rinish representing the Ice Bears here, and we're going to talk a little Ice Bears hockey, their season and their playoff run, heading into their protected list. It was pretty kind of a roller coaster season for the Ice Bears. They had some really good moments, but dealt with injuries and call ups a lot throughout the season, especially coming down the stretch into the playoffs. Dinger was down for quite some time. You had Brendan Dowler up in the ECHL, Dawson McKinney. There's some guys missing that were key parts, but got some of them back in the playoffs. Was ended up being a seventh seed. Played Huntsville Havoc in the first round. We'll talk about that real quick. It was actually a better series than people think, even though it was a sweep for Knoxville Ice Bears over to Havoc 2-0. First game went into double overtime.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and then the very next day had to play another game, and it was again won by Knoxville Ice Bears. So why don't you tell me about the season heading up into the playoffs and that first round against Havoc? What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head with the season. It's like we had a strong team coming into the season. You look at the lineup we had was very, very similar to last year's previous season, and you got some new faces. You had Tosto, Button, Cup. Different key players that ended up being really good for the team. And then you get your call ups. We didn't start the season with Dawson McKinney. Dowler got called up pretty quick, and those were two big keys that we were missing. Dowler, shoot me dead if you want, but I think Brendan Dowler and Billy Roach are one and two best defenders in the SPHL, arguably. I mean, there's different factors that go into that, obviously, but you get those two on the line. If they work together, it's you got the muscle, you got the brains. And not saying the other one's dumb and the other one's all muscle, but it's one has better hockey IQ. The other one, obviously muscle. You're not getting the puck off him. He's gonna get the puck off of you. Dawson McKinney, love him to death. Not coming at the beginning, kind of worried a lot of us. Didn't have that scoring, or we had scoring. It's just you didn't have what we knew. We know Dawson can get that snipe. We know he can get a penalty called for us. You know what you had there. We knew what we were missing. So it hurt. And when he came back, I think it was first game back, he scored 2 goals off the rip, and we're like, let's go. um, Trying to think, it was such a up and down season. Trying to remember it all real quick. Uh, you know, Eric Olson up and down pretty much all the whole season. That was a key player. His face-offs were amazing all year. Plus, he was a player that if he needed to, he's going to drop and stand up for somebody. Let's see here. We had Tim Kent came, and I was nervous about Tim Kent beginning. He was on 2 SPHL teams, then went overseas, and then we caught him. And I was very worried he was a cancer of the team. But he came in and scored an overtime winner for us. He got 2 goals here, 2 goals there. I think he scored a hat trick right before the season, I think it was, or not right before the playoffs. And then in the Huntsville game, I think he scored. I was like, okay, that's a good guy to have. I had mixed feelings about him. I'm not gonna lie. If everyone knows me, I'm very vocal about my opinions. But there was times I was very happy with him. Then times I was pissed the fuck off on him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of somebody else here. Kyle Soper. We didn't have Kyle Soper at the start, and then he comes into the season, and then he's projected 900 penalty minutes, and he was very proud of that.
Yeah.
But as the season went on, when he came, he arguably one of our best defenders on the ice at the time. Not having Billy Roach being on IR and then Dowler being up in the East Coast, Mr. Big Time is what I've been calling him. Back and forth, forward defense, taking pucks to the face. He played every position twice this year, I swear. In the playoffs for Peoria, goals wide open. There's Kyle Soper taking a puck to the chin.
Yeah, I remember that.
God. I make fun of him all the time. I say, your face is a puck magnet. Every single time it hits the same spot every time. We got Dinger back this season. Great goalie. He had a slow start, and he likes to beat up on me for saying this all the time. I said he had a slow season, but I'm not going to be one of those people to be like, oh no, you're doing great. You're not going to fix yourself if you just hear you're doing great all the time. He started off slow. I wouldn't say disappointed, but I was like, I know you're better than this. And we talked. He made fun of me for saying that out loud. Sent some screenshots to me, and then he got better. And I'm like, "There's the Dinger I know." Then he got hurt, and I was like, "Shit." Which I didn't like when Connor Green came on at the start. I didn't like him. I've never seen a goalie in my life lose his stick more times than Connor Green has. And it made me mad. He lost it 3 times in a Beeham game. He lost it, I think it was a Roanoke game before. He lost it the game after. And I'm like, Jesus. And Christian Juan Ramos, I thought he was really good for what he is. Brand new to the SP, came in, was handed a crap situation. And I thought for what he did he played pretty well. Now, his win-loss there, arguably, and people might whip me for saying this, but, it is what it is. I thought he was at times the better goalie. But no one has beaten Connor Green's 1v1s. Connor Green was on his head every single game. If it was a breakaway, 1-on-1 shootout, whatever, he was going to stop it. And he did 98% of the time. But those 2-on-1s or 3-on-1s, if it was an odd number, it was almost going in every time. And that's kind of what made me mad. But he grew, Christian grew. And then even when we dropped Christian, he stuck around and still got that goalie practice. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him in the SP next year. And I think he's getting the goalie coaching he needs. So I hope that works out for him because he's a wonderful guy. I would love to see him in the SP. See, Ryan Orgel surprised me this year. I was excited to see him because he played, I think it was 3 or 4 games in the AHL. And he played up there, had good points, played most of his career in the East Coast. I was like, okay, this is gonna be a good guy. He came down. First games were a little rocky, but nothing bad. And I was like, okay, I like this guy. He was a good pickup. Now he wasn't scoring, he wasn't, but he was keeping the puck away from Dinger, which is what we needed at the time. Robin Lilquist, fan favorite right there. I know Roanoke fans, I know Beeham fans, I know Peoria fans, I know Huntsville fans that just love Robin. They can hate the Ice Bears and they just love Robin, which I can understand. Dude's a Dude's a gem. Love him.
Likeable.
I've never. Oh yeah, I've never seen a guy with his like height and stature actually play the position appropriately. Now, he playing overseas where he was, he the first words out of his mouth to me, he was like, "I kind of want to get in a fight, but I don't know if I'm a fighter. But we're gonna find out if I'm a fighter real quick." Then he got in a fight the next day and came in. He goes, "That was exhausting. I don't know if I'm a fighter." But he learned how to use his size, but his puck control with his reach. So dude's reaching 20 feet away and then handling the puck and keeping it, which impressed most of us. I said when we had Carlson during the bad season, I didn't like that guy personally. I mean, great guy off the ice, kind of awkward, but if he doesn't know you, I understand. Um, I just didn't like his play style. I just don't think he was using his height for what it was. And some people agree with me, some people don't. It's kind of one of those things, you either like them or you don't, and that's fine. Uh, trying trying to go through all the pit. Kuzmich was a great protected list last year. Brought him back on. I liked him the year prior when we caught him fresh out of college. Played real good all the way through. I love his aggressiveness. Jared Westcott, he surprised me at times. I didn't think he was going to be on the Bears for as long as he was. I thought he was going to get called up and we were never going to see him again. He slowed down a little bit, but he picked it back up. He came back off of IR and he was bodying people. I mean, even our playoff game, I don't know how many times he tried to lay one of y'all out. He just coming out of nowhere, just boom. It surprised me. Hope he's doing all right. He took that puck to the head and kind of concussion. I think he took a coaching job, and I think he's done for the year or done with playing hockey. Unfortunately, because he was a good player. Blake Tosto, another one that where he surprised me on his first ever fight was dropping the gloves with Sam Dabrowski. That one shocked the crap out of me as I'm sitting there in Fayetteville, and I'm like, oh, they're laughing. They haven't seen each other in a while. They're doing, and now they're fighting. What? Love his heart, love his shot, love him to death. Even though he takes shots at me that weren't meant. He jumps in front of straight bullets, me trying to chirp somebody else, and he just jumps in front and he hits me back. Every single time. Troy Button, great pickup this year. He was one of those players where a lot of people they liked him as a person, which is odd because he's not a very likable person if you know him personally. But if you get to know him, he's actually really cool. But as a player, yeah, as a player, he wasn't very noticeable. So a lot of people just kind of just brushed him off. I thought he was a second line, first line defenseman when all of our guys were on IR, and then he stood up. Very controlled with the puck, very consistent. He didn't have a bad day. He had really good days, but he never had a bad game. It was kind of very, very consistent. He has just as many saves as Dinger, I swear. Dinger and Kyle and Button all have the same amount of saves. He took 2 saves in Pensacola halfway through the season. Took one to the ankle, took one to the hand that actually put him on IR, which was a weird altercation. He hurt his hand game 1, and then they IR'd him game 3. So it was weird, and it kind of sucked missing him. Jimmy Soper, gotta love the captain. He's a dying breed of players. He's a captain with full heart, love or hate him. He loves the sport, loves to play hockey, and he's not afraid to fight anybody. He's not the best fighter in the world, but if he needs to fight for his team, he's going to. Him and Matthew Hobbs, very similar play style. You can hate them, but you would love to have them on your team because they're going to be that person standing up for every single one of those people on the ice. And he played the whole playoffs with 4 broken ribs, and he's still. I mean, like, dude's an animal.
Hot for you right there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how. And you talk to him, and he's sitting there going, "I could rest in the off season," and I'm like, "Jesus, dude, Jesus." um, Tim Faulkner, great pickup. A lot of our fans really thought it was an awful trade off. I mean, we lost a really good player for him, but I personally, I didn't expect seeing him back. You know, I was expecting Faulkner to come, but it was going to take a minute. I mean, he's been in Pensacola for how many years now? His life is set there. He has his family there, his girlfriend or wife. They have their whole life there. So when he wasn't showing up, and they were like, "Great, we wasted a trade," and I'm like, "Yeah, give him some time. He has to pack up his life and move somewhere." And then he got here, and a lot of people goes, "Oh, he has no heart." I'm like, "Dude's depressed. He just left everything he knows, and he doesn't know anything. Plus, most of the fights he's been in this year has been against our team." It's kind of awkward, in my opinion. But watching him in warmups, he would take one timers off of the red line, and he wouldn't miss a shot. It was bar down almost every single time, and he can aim the puck like left, right, corners, just wherever, and he will hit it every single time. I've only ever seen him miss 3 shots in warmups, and it was just very interesting. I was like, if you feed him the puck and let him one time it, he will score. And every time they fed him, I think it was out of 7 times I watched him feed Faulkner the puck, he buried it 5 times. I said, let's just keep doing that, and we'll be fine. Who am I missing? I'm missing a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll go over them because, like I said, I got plenty of names written down, and if you're missing
Yeah.
anybody, we'll go over them, I'm sure then. But I mean, I really wanted to get your thoughts on that Havoc series because that was a great series, and I mean, I don't think Havoc fans have any reason to hang their head. Um,
No.
and the series that could have gone either way. That was a double overtime. Anybody could have won that game. Um,
Yeah.
and I even thought that second game was a pretty good game, and just Havoc kind of ran out of gas there at the end. What was your thoughts on that double overtime game, and then having to play the very next day?
Uh, I was tired. Doing double overtime and then driving to Huntsville the next day because I drove with the team. But, well, I didn't ride with them. I just drove and I passed them on the way. But um, it was a great game, very stressful. I mean, the game could go either way. Uh, yes, was there calls missed? 100%, both sides. Oh, this guy, that was kind of a high hit. We can let it go. It wasn't malicious. Oh, that was borderline a trip, or that was too many men on the ice. I think there was one that we were yelling about Huntsville. And I was like, I would playoffs, let them play. It wasn't like they came on the ice and used 7 people to score a goal. 7 people came on the ice for a split second, and the puck hit the guy's skate. Nothing happened. Let it go. It is what it is. Now, can we use that power play? Yeah, but the Bears sucked on the power play all year, so it didn't matter. um, First game, I thought both teams played hands down, balls to the wall, all gas, no brakes. It literally could have went either way. I'm trying to remember. I know who scored the goal to win the game. I don't remember if it was a power play or not, but good, good transitions there. Good passing, scored the goal. There were a lot of times where I thought Havoc was going to score and we were going home. So it literally a coin flip. Nothing to be ashamed on that one, and I don't think anyone was really ashamed of that game. It was the second game where everyone kind of, which same thing. Calls were missed, both sides. I mean, but I felt it was even, eye for eyes. Nothing really that was going to change the game. nothing really that led to a goal or a breakaway or, just happened. Play on, keep going. It's playoffs. Let them play. It just, the Huntsville scored, I think, was like a minute in, 2 minutes in. And that the Bears, these Bears anyway, love to play with their backs against the wall when there is no option to lose. So they didn't have the option to lose in their heads. That fired them up. Jimmy Soper went out there, scored a goal. We're right back in it. We ramp off of goals. So we kept going, got another one. There it is. It was. I hate it for the Huntsville fans. I really do. Like, I've taken a crap on them on the page many of times, and that's just due to the ones that come to Knoxville and start the crap. Now, not everyone's like that. I understand, but actually, the fans I've met there, talked to, except for Starry, f him, he flipped me off. He's a jerk. They were really nice, really cool. I mean, I would go back. I love the area. That walking around the place, wonderful. So that series, yeah, it was cool for us. It was a sweep. I don't need the stress of another overtime game. The Bears and overtime playoff games, my heart can't take it no more. But I understand why everyone was upset. I get it, but in reality, I mean, Huntsville gave it all they had, and unfortunately for them, the Bears were the better team that night. Their bounces hit, the puck luck was on our side. Maybe that one missed call by the ref that happens could have led to something. Yes, it's just, that's hockey. I mean, it happened here to y'all. It happened 3 months ago to us. It's just kind of luck of the draw on that one, and it does suck. But I see the Huntsville calling back and actually being pretty solid this upcoming year.
Right. And then, after that, I mean, you want to talk about a banger of a series between the Ice Bears and Rivermen. That was pure hockey entertainment, start to finish. I mean,
Yeah.
great series. Just the way it went, splitting both. We split in Peoria, we split in Knoxville. Game 5, it comes down to it. Like I said, Rivermen. Well, both teams. I'm not just gonna say Rivermen. Both teams came out swinging that first game. Rivermen
Oh yeah.
pulling away at the end and winning that. But Knoxville had the answer the next two games. Their next two games after that game 1 were outstanding for them, especially that game 3 in Knoxville. It was a pretty dominant performance. Yes, you could say Riverman somewhat mounted an attempt at a comeback to make the score look a little better, but for the most part, it was a very dominant performance by the Ice Bears. In that game 3, we started Jack Boston that game 3, our or the league's goalie of the year, and made him look silly, really, at net. No offense to Jack. Um, but then that next few games, after you guys go up 2-1, Rivermen end up getting back-to-back shutouts, 5-0 in Knoxville, and then 1-0 in Peoria in Game 5. It's just insane. I did not have that on my bingo card at all. Uh,
No.
did not think we would win 5-0 in Knoxville whatsoever, and sure as shit didn't think that would be a 1-0 game in Peoria. And I mean, it's a heartbreaker of a loss, I'm sure, for the team and Knoxville fans. Like I said, going up 2-1. If this was even as early as last year, I know the woulda, shoulda, couldas. I'm just putting this out there. That wasn't the way, but say that was a 3-game, best of 3. Knoxville moves on to the finals just like in years previous, but best of 5. Rivermen just came on with their defense and goaltending those last two games. What was your feeling for that series and heading into those two games, just watching that all unfold and just not being able to get the puck by Tino in those last two games?
Yeah. I mean, my opinion, that series was the best series in the whole playoffs, finals and all.
I
I
agree.
mean, I'm not saying the cup final was boring by Sanch, but there was I had no interest in it. I mean, but looking at it, I mean, I know some Evansville fans were even like the games were good, but they were lackluster. There wasn't that fire that, we had. There wasn't that fire that we in Huntsville had. And I'm not saying the Bears are the only ones that bring fire. That's not what that's what I'm saying. That Pensacola game in the playoffs, that whole series, that was hands down, I would say almost the second best in the whole playoffs. That was a really good, Pensacola came out and they were like, "Hey, we need to win," and they did their damnedest. um, Going with the Knoxville game, I mean, I made it to all of them but one. I didn't make it to that Sunday game. I wasn't driving back up there for that. But I mean, watching it, I was just like, okay, we have a chance here. Not thinking that we were out of it, but it was like this is going to be a hard team to beat. We kind of struggled with these guys throughout the season. It was kind of up and down. Now we all every year we oddly have decent luck against y'all. I mean, it just never seems to fail. Now I don't want to play y'all every week, but we have decent luck. Our games are usually pretty good, and then the Bears usually at least knock you down once or twice a season, which is, hey, that's cool. This year, y'all had our number, y'all had Dinger's number until the playoffs. And then it came down to that last game where it was like 0-1. And like you said, that wasn't on my bingo card. I was thinking, 3-2, 4-2, just something like that. But the fact that it came down to literally the last second where uh, I think it was Tosto who just shot the puck and it barely missed with a second to go. It's like there it was. That was it. The 5-0 loss was ridiculous, and I don't like putting blame on a single person or anything like that, but I truly believe that was the coaching's fault. Just because the game we won the night before, we had this all-star line. Every time it went out, we scored. The next game, we didn't have that line. Why did we switch that lineup? Those guys were working really well together. They've been working well together. Why did we switch it up? No one else came in, nothing. No, I mean, no one threw a rock in the puddle. Why would you change something that's working and then go kaboom? Maybe they know something I don't, but it didn't work. That made me mad. Uh, I felt like we could have had that game and it would have been a whole different story. But we changed that whole thing until they went back to the original line 10 minutes to go in the third. At that point, why?
Right. Yeah, I can do shit like that too.
I mean, it was just like last season, the previous season. I keep saying last season. Technically, this is last season. The previous season, I mean, Roanoke had our number, but we never played the same lines with them. We'll play Peoria and have this line that works and they're working well. The passes don't miss. The shots are always on target. It's crisp plays. We'll go to Roanoke and just explode it. Why? And then I always got, oh, we were trying something. Why are we trying something with the same team, especially the team that hates our guts and we have to hear about it every single time we lose? But it was something I always fought and I always talk about with a lot of Roanoke fans, and they'll agree with me. But those games where we played, we didn't play the whole line until the third. We put our game day lines in the third, and then those were the times we came back and won, or not win, but like almost came back and won. And I was like, we can beat these guys, and then it proved that in the playoffs. But what do I know? So I just feel like there's a pattern of we like to mix up what's working. And you can throw that around to being like, oh, we don't want teams to figure us out and everything. It's the playoffs. They've already done figured us out. If they know something, they know who to watch. You watch Dawson. Jimmy's on fire in the playoffs. You watch Jimmy. You know, uh, Dinger and Chartland had this weird love relationship. Keep that going because it was getting it was getting Dinger mad. Just keep that going. I mean, they already have us figured out. Keep what's working going because that's our best chance. And we didn't, and we lost 5-0. That one hurt.
Like I even as a Riverman fan, like I you never expect to win big like that really too often in a playoff series, especially against Knoxville. Going into that series, I was like, this is not a 7th seed team. I don't care that they have that 7 by their name. They are not a 7th seed team. They're not. They're
Yeah.
better than that 7th seed indicates for sure. And Havoc can attest to that as well. I knew we would have our hands full. When that team's clicking, they can score goals in bunches. They can go on a drought maybe in the first and second period and all of a sudden score like 3, 4 goals in the third. Just like that in the blink of an eye,
And I mean, maybe around one, you would expect a 5-0 game, or because the matchups are so weird. You got the first place and the actual last place team. Now, like you said, I don't think we were an actual 7th place team. Us and Roanoke, my opinion, got hit the worst on IR and call ups this year. I mean, Roanoke lost. Goose, Stacy got put on IR. Anytime they got something going, they got put on IR or called up, and they were gone for a while. Especially like Tahoe, with Tahoe calling every single SPHL player up. And they stayed there. And good for them. Eric Olson, Dawson McKinney, Brendan Dowler, they did good there. I mean, good for them. They're making a name for themselves. I don't expect to see some of those people back next year for half of the season at least. But
speaking of some of those names, let's go ahead and dive right into our protected list here. We'll run down these names real quick, and we'll go over to some of the names that were left off after we hit the names on the protected. We'll start with forwards, and I think it's pretty straightforward, and I do think this is a good list of players to protect. Obviously, you got your captain, Jimmy Soper, protected. Blake Tosto, protected. Ryan Kuzmich, Dawson McKinney, David Gaeta. Did I say that right?
Davide Gaeta.
Yeah. And Tim Kent and Eric Olson. So there's your forwards protected at Knoxville. Briefly tell me your thoughts on those names that I read off being protected. Are those names you expected to see on that list?
I wasn't expecting to see Jimmy on that list. And just for the fact of, I had a feeling he was going to be done. When he first came onto the Bears, I asked him, how many years are you going to do with us? And he was like, at least 2. And he goes, I'm getting older and everything like that. I thought he was going to try to go for a coaching job, which I think overall is going to be the goal in the end. But there was a rumor going around saying that Jimmy was going to be our next head coach this upcoming season. That rumor, I'll put to bed. I went to some sources. That's not a thing. Jimmy is planning on playing this year. So, Jimmy's on the Jimmy don't fuck around. If Jimmy's on that list, Jimmy's playing. I thought at first maybe it was due to like a possible expansion draft with these new teams coming in. I don't know how that works. Of like, oh, we're gonna pick him up now. He can't be your coach. Ha ha ha. F you. I don't know how that works personally. But going through talking with some of these guys and valid sources, Jimmy's playing. He's hurting right now. He's still recovering with the ribs, but he's gonna play. He's planning on. So unless something happens where a coaching job in Knoxville opens up, he's gonna be our captain again.
That's good.
Blake Tosto, great name. I expected to see him if he still wanted to play SPHL hockey. Definitely expected to see him on there. Great leader, great guy on the ice, great goal scorer, opens up chances. Plus, he's getting a little aggressive, dropping the mitts. You like to see that because, you get the 7-foot guy taking out the score. You want somebody to go and jump him. It doesn't matter if you win or loss. You want to get that guy off the ice. You have to stick up for your men. So, Blake's a hell of a player, hell of a shot, hell of a play, just love every time he's on the ice. It gets exciting. Kuzmich, another one, aggressive forward. You like to see some muscle. You like to see a guy who can outpower somebody to keep the puck and then get a shot on goal. I expect to see him next year. I'd expect to see him in top 5 goals scored at the SBHL personally. He's just getting better as he goes. Expected to see him on there if he wanted to play SPHL hockey. I haven't talked to him. I don't really talk to him. I don't really have that in with him. I'd expect to see him in the East Coast. If he's not playing for the Bears, he's going to be in the East Coast. If he's not in the East Coast, he's going to play for the Bears. Dawson McKinney, your favorite player?
Mr. Embellishment himself.
Love Dawes, great guy. He ticks me off sometimes, and I've told him, sometimes I think he holds the puck too long. Sometimes I think he takes the shot when he should have passed and passed when he should have shot. Talk to him a little bit. I think this is going to be one of his last golden runs if he's not in the coast. So I think he wants to play hockey. So if he's up in the coast and just sitting, he's going to come down and play for us. And then that's, we're going to go from there. Take that information as you will. But he's going to try to go for a East Coast team. All support of him. Hopefully he gets it. Want nothing but the best for him. But definitely I'm going to see him in the SB8 this year. Gaeta, that would be the name that I'm on the fence about personally. A lot of people like him. Fed's top goal scorer year prior. Had high hopes for him. He just didn't wow me. Great guy off the ice. Never had a problem with him. Talked to him just fine. Nice guy. Love him. I'm just not a fan of his play style. So that one was plus. I don't think he really did too much for us. So I was a little surprised to see that name compared to some others. But that's my opinion. Tim Kent, expected to see Kent there. I thought he towards when we picked him up had a high ramp. He kind of slowed down, and then he picked it up right at the end again. I think that's a coin flip. You can either protect him or you don't. Didn't really talk to him too much. He's a very to himself person. I expect if he's on the protector list, I expect him to be back. And Olsen, love Olsen. he's a great funny guy. I've told him last year he's definitely banned in a casino somewhere in the world, and not because he's good at gambling. Great player. Love his face-offs. That's our face-off guy right there. So if we don't have him, hopefully we get somebody really good at face-offs. I think we see him in the coast next year. Personally, I think Tahoe might pick him up, or Orlando. Orlando seems to like him, but if he's in the SP next year, I think next year will be his last year in the SP. He's definitely going to be a coast player, and yeah.
All right. Well, kind of the same story here. Now going on to our defenders. And again, it's a pretty extensive list. You got 5 defenders protected. We start out with Tim Faulkner, Robin Lillquist. I'm just going to straight up say that's not a surprise. Robin. Brendan Dowler, Billy Roche, and Ryan Orgel. And
Borgelia.
of course, goalie Stefan Muddinger. So, what are your thoughts on those names being retained for the Ice Bears?
I think those are no questions. I mean, every single one of them. Like I was saying earlier, Tim Faulkner, I love his one-timer shot. He's definitely a bigger guy. He didn't. I saw during the first time we faced Huntsville, for whatever reason, I don't know the backstory. He really wants to fight Red Gennaro, which I can understand that point. I'd probably want to fight Red Gennaro too. But I don't know what the beef was there. I didn't follow Pensacola in him that much. I didn't really know too much about Faulkner at the time. I say that, but I bought his helmet this year, so he definitely stood out to me when we picked him up. I love his one time. I love his defensive IQ. He knows when to go at somebody. He knows when to fall back. Now in Pensacola, you can argue like he caused some dumb penalties and everything like that. Yes, but that's hockey. It happens. I mean, let's look at Lucas Helen. I mean, last year's Lucas Helen versus this year's Lucas Helen. I mean, two different Helens. I would say Helen caused more unnecessary penalties the year previous than this year. But same thing with Faulkner. I think once he moved to the Bears, there wasn't really any dumb plays by him. You know, maybe he should have been in a different position, but you're going to have that. I think he played really well. I think he's a key point on our defense. You got Bobby Lillquist. I mean, I don't need to say anything about that. He's a fan favorite. He broke the record in our jersey sales. Not that that has anything to do with it, but you know, a team's going to want to keep a moneymaker. Scored that double overtime winner in Huntsville. You know, had 2 goals in the season. I think it was 2 or 3. He knows when to go at somebody. He knows when it's appropriate to fight. He knows when it's appropriate to use the body. Plus, he knows how to use that stick. And it was very impressive all year. You know, he could just reach out, like I said earlier, 20 feet, just grab that puck and control it while he's reaching. And then just fling it, and it goes right to the guy's stick almost every single time. But my only thing with him was at the beginning of the season, especially, I think there was a language barrier. So the only person he worked well with was Brendan Dowler. Because they were roommates, they knew how to talk to each other. So if Bob was with Dowles, they were good. But if Bob was with Vance at the start, it wasn't that good. It was very rough at times. You know, they put him with Cup at one game, they put him with Kyle another game, and it just wasn't clicking. Now, halfway through the season, about January, I think that's about half-ish, yeah. He started working well with other defensemen, which that was the thing that he was lacking to stay on the team. There was a point in time where I thought we were going to drop him from playoffs. Now with playoffs, you know, coming into play, I'm glad he was there. You know, there wasn't a person he couldn't work with. And then Dowles, that's another fan favorite right there. I mean, you know, you expect to see that one on there.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say SPHL's big tough guy, top 5, top 3, 100%. The only thing he lacks with being the tough guy is his fighting technique, and he'll be the first one to tell you that. But if he hits you, you're not getting back up. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, he doesn't have the technique, but just don't get hit. Just don't get hit. That was one of those things I wished him and Trudell went at. I would have liked to see the outcome. I think it would have been. I think personally, and I've told him this, I think Trudell would have had the upper hand on him, but I think Dowles would have given him a run for his money, 100%. I think it would have been a really good tilt. You know, getting called up, I would say 60% of the season at least, Dowler was up there. I mean, you know, he scored goals, got assists. He was keeping up with all those players because, you know, going from the Fed to the SP, there's a small margin of skill, in my opinion. You know, SP games are a little bit faster. There is a little bit more skill, but in reality, a top SP Fed team can take half of the SP at any given time. Not every Fed team, but I would say the top five. If the top five, top six of the Fed comes to the SPHL right now, they're just going to mesh. It's as simple as that. Plus, half the Fed is the SPHL, in my opinion, at certain times with the money and everything, but we're not going to get into that. So, but when you jump from the SP to the East Coast, it's a huge jump. The skill level goes way up. The physicality goes way up. The speed goes way up. It's kind of hard to adapt, and especially where he went at first was Tahoe. The air is thinner. He was having trouble breathing, and he's still just keeping up. Keeping up, bodying people, getting shots on goal, scoring a goal. I mean, there's not too much to say about that. He earned his place. If he wants an East Coast job next year, he has it. If I think there might be a contract on the table, either from Tahoe or Kalamazoo. I think he'll go to Kalamazoo personally if he gets those contracts. I think if there's a contract, he's going to take it. He loves Knoxville. He wants Knoxville to be his home, but I think he got the taste of an East Coast team that really likes him, really cares, and there's a good team chemistry, plus the team takes well care of those players. Not saying Knoxville doesn't take care of their players, they do. But he went, I think the first call up he went to, he didn't have any love for the East Coast. He wanted to come home. He was telling me about it. But then he went to Tahoe and he loved the coast. He wanted to be in the coast. He wants to be a coast player. He's a coast level player. So if there's a coast contract, I see him taking it personally. He hasn't told me that. That's just me talking out my butt. But I think if there's a coast contract, he takes it every time. If he doesn't play for the coast, he's going to play Ice Bears hockey. It's the same thing if he goes down to the Fed. That'll never happen. If he goes down to the Fed, he's going to go Danbury every single time. There's not another team he'll play for, in my opinion. So it's either going to be Danbury, Ice Bears, or Kalamazoo or Tahoe. I think Billy, he's going to be Knoxville. He told me when he was in Greensboro this season, it's Knoxville or bust. So he had no interest of going to any other team. He wanted off Roanoke. There's a lot of information I'm not going to give out there. He told me a lot of things. I don't blame him. But he wanted off Roanoke. He was pushing for a trade, but obviously you're not going to trade a guy for a bag of sticks and pucks. Dan's not. I hate Dan. Hate Bremner with a burning passion, but he's not an idiot. He's not going to trade an all-star defender for a hotel room. So took a while. Finally got him. He got where he wanted to be. Got called up. You had to see it. I mean, everyone on Knoxville was getting called up. You had to see it. But I think he went up there. He had his moments. He sat for a while. He didn't play a lot. I think he's done with the coast personally. I could be way off on that, but I think he comes back and plays Knoxville every single time. Orgel would be the only one I don't know anything about. Never talked to him. Never really got to know him. Loved his play. He was always in and out of the garage. Hey, good game. Thanks. Gone. Real nice guy, but just never wanted to talk. Which that's okay. You don't have to talk to me. I'm annoying. I always thought he was weird, of not him himself, of the whole deal. Spent most of his career in the coast, played some games in the A. Why all of a sudden is he in the SPHL? I felt like there was some sort of deal there with Johnny and him. I don't know. If he's back this upcoming season, I'd be a little surprised. I think he's going to be in the coast. And then Dinger, I thought we would have traded him for a Krispy Kreme donut by now, but I had to put that in there because I know I'm going to get a text message later by him. But no, Dinger, I mean, obviously you protect him. He's the wall of the team. I just wish we can get a good backup and give him a break every once in a while. I'm not saying all the other backups that we've had aren't good. It's just they don't last. They don't. Now we play Dinger 88% of the time, so I can get sit in every game. You want to be a hockey player, you want to play. I get that. I just wish we can get some sort of happy medium of switching the goalies out where a good backup will want to stay. I wasn't surprised to see Dinger. Dinger's going to be Knoxville for life. There's only, I think he told me there's 3 coast teams he would only consider, and even then, he's only going to go up there for a call up, get some goalie practice, and come back down. Dinger, he would tell me all the time, he gets 12 call ups a week, and he denies every single one of them. So if he wants to, he can go, but I don't think he's going to. He's going to be a Knoxville until he retires.
Well, that's a good security blanket to have. Big ass security blanket to have. Now, with these names, we're gonna go over some names left off, and want to do this quickly. We're coming up on an hour, so I really don't want to.
Yeah. Over. I rambled a lot. My bad.
You're good. You're good. But yeah, I do want to go over these unprotected names real quick because there are a few that surprised me. Maybe a few I could see coming back. Maybe that's why they were left off, or maybe they tried their luck overseas or in the East Coast. But there's a few names that drew my interest. We'll start with the forwards. We got Derek Osick, Jason Branchow, Tyler Williams, Mitch Atkins, Noah Finstrom, Jared Westcott, which you kind of touched on Jared Westcott earlier, Paxton LaRue, and Braden Standard. A few of those names a little surprising. I could see a few of those names coming back. Maybe a name retire, like maybe a Mitch Atkins. Maybe I'm out of bounds there, but
well, Noah Finstrom, he's on Roanoke, so.
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys
Yeah. We traded him halfway through. That was actually for the Billy.
Yeah, that's correct.
Tyler Williams, I know everyone's up in arms about that one. We couldn't protect him. We technically had to drop him because of IR in the playoffs. So when you put somebody on IR in the playoffs, you have to drop them. You can't protect that player. It's because you submit a playoff roster for everyone who doesn't know. You have to submit a playoff roster. There's only a certain amount of teams names on that roster. Everyone else doesn't play. Doesn't mean they can't be called up, but to replace them, you have to drop a person off the team, and they can't be re-added, and you can't protect that person for the next upcoming season. When Willie took the puck to the face and broke his jaw, there was no chance of him playing. You had to drop him and put somebody else in. Dowler came back down. He talked to Kalamazoo. He was like, hey, if I'm not playing, Knoxville needs me. Came back. I don't think you have anything to worry about, Willie. He wants to play in Knoxville. He got the A this year. He comes back 9 times out of 10, in my opinion, unless he gets that magic call up from Reading or another team that he's been up in the past. He's going to play Knoxville. Jared Westcott, from the looks of it and everything I've heard online, it looks like he's done and retired. It sucks. I really like that guy, but I get it. Mitch Atkins, great guy, love him, great player. I think he's done too. I was surprised to see him back this year. He was working on his business the whole season, and the year prior, he said, I'll be back in February. I'll be back in February. I'll be back in January. Well, January came, it turned to February. February came, it turned into, and so forth. So it just kind of looked like he wasn't coming back. And then all of a sudden, boom, here he is. Cool. I think that was his last run. I could be wrong. He might come back. Yeah. Who else are we? Which ones did I miss?
I think a big name is like Branchow.
Oh, Branchow. Yeah. Love Jason. I think he has a lot of potential. He's shown that potential the year prior. This year, he was kind of lackluster. He hit the post 1,000 times. I know he was very frustrated about that. Love and death really fast. I think you can, if he wants to come back and the team wants him, he'll be back. I don't think him not being on a protected list doesn't mean we don't want him. I just think the names we really wanted to protect made the list. Everyone else, they have a home if they want it. Uh, trying. I don't have the list in front of me.
Lucas Helen, I'm sorry. I left off
Oh yeah, hell.
Lucas Helen.
I mean, oh Helly and Paxton too. Yeah. I mean Helly improved so much. He's another one where if he plays hockey, if it's SP hockey, it's going to be for Knoxville. If it's in the coast, most of these guys, I'm going to say the same thing. You know, if they want to play SP hockey, they're going to be in Knoxville. I was surprised to see Helen back. I thought he was going to finish the way he was playing in the coast and, you know, keeping his pims down and everything. I thought he was going to stay up there. So that was a shock to see him and Mitchie come back at the same time. And then him behave himself was a bigger shock.
Lucas.
Yeah. And then Paxton, I mean, we all know what Paxton is. There's no hiding it. Love Paxton to death. He's the funniest, one of the funniest people I've ever met. But he knows what he is. He knows what his job is, and that's to annoy the piss out of you. Basically, you know, you look at it, Jimmy Soper the previous year, he fought everything that moved. Jimmy's getting older. Jimmy can't fight everything that moves. You need somebody who's there to fight. Welcome Paxton LaRue. Paxton's there to take a load off of Jimmy. If we need that person, Paxton will be back.
All right, and then real quick, we'll do the defenders and the goalie. Again, a couple of names, but got some good names protected too. But
Yeah.
Jarrett Cup, Carson Vance, Kyle Soper, and of course your goalie in the playoffs, Logan Flodell. Um, I kind of understand why Kyle maybe's not protected. I mean, he's going to play with his brother if that's
Yeah.
that option's available. But maybe like a Troy Button or Carson Vance was a little surprised, maybe not to see them on there, but you still got. There's really not a lot of room to put on that protected list. So, I mean, what are your
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Our defense on this list is stacked. There isn't any. Maybe Orgel I would swap somebody with. Maybe, but also it's kind of like what you said. Kyle isn't gonna leave his brother at this point. I've talked to Kyle. If Knoxville wants him, he's gonna play for Knoxville. And he's never mind. He's ready to play. Vance, same thing. Vance is a Soper fangirl. He's going to follow them now. I mean, they're all one unit, real good. I think Vance has the potential to be one of our alternate captains, and I was surprised he didn't get one this year. Maybe there's something there. I think they take a vote on that, and that's up to the team. But I mean, watching Vance play, he leads. He's a good player. He kind of fell off a little bit this year, but you'll have those seasons. I think he bounces back next year. Jared Cup, I don't really know too much about Jared. I think he has a loyalty though, where he did like Knox, so if he plays, he'll be back. And Troy Button is retired. There was no surprise not seeing him on the thing. You know, Cam Toby. With him being on IR, they didn't know if he's going to be good enough to play, or he wants to come back and play. He wants to play. He just hopes Knoxville wants him. Flodell. I don't know anything about Flodell. I haven't really talked to him. That one would be the one I don't think comes back, if anything.
Yeah, I do think there's going to be an open search to try and find Dinger, that backup goalie.
Yeah.
I think that search goes on. Well, basically to kind of wrap it up here, as we're coming to an end, another pretty good season turned in, up and down year. We know how good this Knoxville team can be. We know how dangerous they can be, especially in the playoffs. The last 2 years, they went to a finals against Evansville Thunderbolts. Unfortunately, didn't work out for them. In a year where they didn't win a single home game in the playoffs, they managed to go to the finals. And then this
Yeah.
year, you know, a really good playoff team that was a real dark horse, a real contender that definitely had the ability to make another finals appearance. Ran into a roadblock with Peoria, tough 5 game series. I mean, there's a lot of optimism and a lot of good reason to be optimistic in Knoxville. Would you agree with me? What's your assessment heading into this next upcoming season?
Without seeing, so if we go with what we just have on the protected list, I say we have a top 5 team. Even, and that's, let's take Athens and PD out of it too, because I don't know what they're going to bring to the table until I see it. But I think we have a top 5 team. Definitely, we're not missing playoffs next year, and I think, I mean, we need some payback with y'all in Evansville still. So I mean, I want to run back the Peoria games. I don't want to go to Peoria every single day. Um, that was a long drive. Um, I didn't have a single problem there other than one homeless guy, but great area. I would go back in a heartbeat, but I want to run that back. I want to, and I still want to get back at Evansville. Talking to a few of the guys, they still owe Semino one. And fun fact, I'm not going to get on a big tangent. So for everyone, that's all the Evansville fans that are waiting for this one. So when Jimmy fought Semino, Jimmy wasn't supposed to fight Semino. Jimmy had a broken jaw. I found this out 2 days ago. So when the hit happened and Jimmy was on the ice, everyone looked at Jimmy like, "Oh, Jimmy's on the ice. He got it." But Jimmy wasn't allowed to fight, and Jimmy still went and fought. So of course he lost that one. But Semino's a big guy. He probably would have ended up winning anyway. But that's kind of the whole idea on that one.
Yeah, well, I do thank you, Brooks, for joining me talking a little Ice Bear hockey. This has been real fun. Like I said, my personal opinion, Knoxville's always that team that you absolutely can't count out.
No.
They do have their moments, their streaks. They're kind of a streaky team and they can get in a funk. But when they come out of that funk, they come out of it hard and
Yeah.
go on a nice little run. And like I said, this team is set up to win, especially with Dinger anchoring them. They got guys that can put the puck in the net. Um, their their defense has improved over the past few seasons. This is a team that can contend. They should never be counted out. I look forward to seeing them play next year. I always look forward to the Knoxville Peoria matchups. Those are some entertaining matchups no matter what time of the year it is. Both teams have heart, fire, passion. They come out, and it's a beautiful thing to watch on the
Yeah. I honestly think the Peoria and Ice Bear games are a better rivalry than the Roanoke and Ice Bear games, just because when we go to Roanoke, both teams still and fans just hate each other's guts, and it just becomes to a point where eh, it's the same thing. It's at least when Peoria, it's a hatred, but it produces good hockey. You go to Roanoke and Knoxville sometimes, and it's just like, can this game end? And they're like, but you're winning 4-2, and I'm like, yeah, but can this game end? It's just annoying at this point.
Yeah, I know. I get you on that because that's how I feel with games against.
QC.
And yeah, it's just like, look, I get it. We don't like each other. Fan bases don't, there's some respect amongst fans, yes, but for the most part, the fan bases, the teams just don't mesh really well. But it's just like even if we're winning, we can be up like what you said, 5-0. We could be up 3-2, and it's just like I'm
I
over
just
it.
want to go home.
Yeah, I, you know, I've seen this story so many damn times. So
Yep.
it's just, yeah, I totally understand what you mean. But with that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, guys. So for myself and Brooks Rinish, I thank you guys for watching. I thank you, Brooks, for being a part of this. Stay tuned. I still got more stuff lined up. Be talking with Jamie Corkum on Pensacola Ice Flyers. I got stuff lined up even for Athens Rock Lobsters and PD Ice Cats. So, like I said, stay tuned. It's going to be a little break in there because, I've been kind of hitting these a little heavy. I'll get that one out with Jamie Corkum. And then, next week I might take a little bit of a break before I get into the others. So, again, thank you. I'll catch you guys all at the next puck drop. And obviously, I keep it Riverman style. See you guys later.